Hello, hello, hello. It is day 103 of 365 days of my raw suspending disbelief journey. It is August 3rd, 2023, and today was my Saturday with the kids for the most part. And then even after they left, actually, my uncle had stopped by and was visiting, and I spent several hours just chatting with him. And Saturdays are my day off that I give myself. So absolutely nothing wrong in any of that. And just I actually had I would have had a couple of recurring sales that came in. Both of them happened to bounce, which is interesting. And then I didn't have other sales coming in. Specifically, like I wasn't showing up, right? I wasn't online. I wasn't posting. I wasn't sharing or anything like that. Now, not to say that other sales couldn't have come in. There are pathways that people can find my stuff and buy them by fluke or, intentionally if they're searching or whatever. But yeah, so yesterday didn't have, or it just yesterday and the day before were like, it was like sale, 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 sale. And then today was like, no sales, right? I had a couple of like the payment notifications, but they were notifications that the payments didn't go through. So I was like, that's so interesting that like a couple of them had that happen. Now I was not at all like, there wasn't any sort of like, it didn't go through and now I don't have money, and that's right there is already a big shift. It was just sort of like, oh, that's interesting. Like that they both would have that happen. And most likely with these particular payments, the thing is just like forgetting what day a payment comes out and not switching money over to the right account type of a situation. Like these are small payments. So that's that's usually the story that comes with it, and it's totally fine. Anyways, so that was all really interesting. I also had, when I went to drop my kids off, and this one is funny to me. This is like the universal alignment, the divine timing. My kids' bookshelf. I bought this bookshelf at a garage sale several years ago. And it was just because it was so freaking cute. So it's like this white bookshelf with each of the shelves is covered in comic book pages. So it's like Spider-Man and Superman and like all of this. They did like, it almost looks like paper mache, but it's not. It's just like glued on pages onto the shelves. So I had this bookshelf for them. I've had it for years. And I absolutely loved it. But it's a crappy made bookshelf. Like it's not, you know, super sturdy. It's one of the ones with the little pegs that hold up the shelves, and the shelves had been knocked down several times, which loosens the pegs in the holes, it just sort of like continues on and on and on. So I've fixed the shelf multiple times. One of the shelves is no longer movable because I've like screwed in from the side so that it would stay, because it just would not stay on the pegs and all of that. So it's on its last legs, right? And it's just been a struggle. So then their bookshelf is always a mess. They just like, if they put too many books on one shelf, it collapses. And they're like, well, we can't fix this. So then they just leave it and there's books everywhere. And then, so it's just been one of those things. And like, I have been thinking I need to get them a new bookshelf. Anyways, the reason I'm telling you this, I went to take them to their dad's yesterday, and on the way, we were driving past a garage sale, and there was this bookshelf there, and it was just, plain, just a brown bookshelf, like whatever. And I was like, I just wonder if it's okay. Like if it's I should just go check it out on the way back and just see if it's like, because garage sale, it could be something great or it could be something not so great. So it could be something that they've mostly destroyed themselves and are just trying to see if they can make a few bucks instead of just throwing it out, kind of thing. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to go look, because their bookshelf really is haggard. So I went and it was actually a super sturdy, like really well built bookshelf. It's not a crappy built bookshelf. It's not like, none of the shelves come off. they're built right to it. So it was like super, super sturdy, and it was only $20. And actually I ended up getting like a few things that they had there, and haggled on the price a little bit just because I was like, well, I wasn't planning on spending any money today. But I got like some other fun things for them, and I got, whatever. And all in all, like all the prices went down because I bought multiple things, and I was just like, hey, would you take this? And they said yes. So I'm not usually too much of a haggler. Like if there's something, I'll usually just buy it. But I was like, it was fairly high prices for garage sale, and I wasn't planning on spending anything, and whatever. Anyway, so this bookshelf though, I was like, it the second of the shelves on their bookshelf that they have right now had collapsed again, and it's getting to the point where I was going to need to screw the second shelf in and make it immovable, because that one is collapsing so many times. And so right now their bookshelf is a disaster. And I was like, as I see that, every time I see that, I'm like, I need to get a new bookshelf. I need to get a new bookshelf. And with the sales that were coming in, so in the past, I would have been like, I would have seen that bookshelf and I wouldn't have even gone and looked, because I would have been like, I just don't have extra. That's not on the budget. That's not something that I've planned for. And in the past, being in this last couple of years where things have been financially like so stressful and so tight. But it was a shift for me to even be like, yeah, I could go look at this garage sale and just see about that bookshelf. Like I would have kept their broken bookshelf and continued to, whatever you call it, like Jimmy rig it together, like force it to be okay for as long as possible. Right. I would have kept going and kept going and kept going. And this is just, it's a shift, even though it was like a $20 shift, even though it was a garage sale purchase, not like going to a store and buying a new bookshelf, even though, all the things. It was just like, why would that bookshelf stand out so strongly to me? And, when I get a nudge, I try my best to follow it. So I followed it, and it was so cheap for a really sturdy bookshelf, and like just all the things. And I was like, wow. And I had the $20. I was able to purchase it. Right. And that, to say like I was not able to purchase a $20 bookshelf in the past is not an exaggeration. Like that is how badly things had turned, right? How, like I literally just had nothing extra, right? I barely covered the things that had to be, and I just had nothing extra. So, there was no like any wiggle room to be able to cover a $20 bookshelf. So for me, as much as like now, okay, I have much more room, much more wiggle room than $20, I also was like, I could still see that win. I could still see that growth. And like, wow, like I'm so grateful that now I'm able to go buy just on sort of a whim, not really a whim, like it's something that I needed, but I can just buy spur of the moment something for $20 and not have to worry that I don't have $20, right? And that feels like breathing to me. It feels like in the past I couldn't breathe, and now I can. And that's huge, right? That is just like that almost just put me into tears. Because it's a realization of just how deeply I was suffocating, right? How hard life had become for me. And I was just functioning under it, right? I was just still going, still working, still pushing. And, I know that I'm resilient and I'm persistent and that I don't give up. And that's an amazing quality of mine. But it also sometimes, when I have the realizations of just how much of a mountain every action had become for me, it can hit me like a ton of bricks, right? Just like, holy crap. Like I really have had it rough, and I'm not one to complain. I'm always a glass half full type, and I'm not one to fall into like a victim mindset. And so I don't hit this, like, oh, poor me mode. And I just don't end up realizing that actually what I'm dealing with is so hard that it's actually like, I'm actually worth compassion for the difficulty of what I'm dealing with, if that makes sense. So sometimes when I have these realizations, I'm like, holy crap, like that was really horrendous. And like a little bit of like, wow, I can't believe that I was dealing with that and just didn't even see it as like, you know what, actually life is really hard for me right now. It was just like, this is just what it is. And yeah, wow. So that is, it may seem silly to some, but that felt like a big monumental thing today. And that's powerful, right? When you have these realizations, it's kind of like, wow, just wow. And remembering to then when you have that realization, then it's like now what comes into my head is like, I'm so freaking grateful for where I am right now. Right. And that gratitude is what brings in more abundance. And so every time we think of like, I am grateful for where I'm at right now, instead of I wish I had more than I have, or I like things are not good enough, all of that. That is a huge shift in and of itself. So every time I have one of these moments that sort of takes my breath away and brings up the tears and and everything, that's like, how was I managing that? And I'm a little bit shocked. It also comes hand in hand with I'm so grateful that I'm not there anymore, right? That I'm here now. And um yeah, just really feeling that. Wow. So um that is, you know what, that's what I have for you today. That is, I'm going to end it there. Today was a great day. It was wonderful. I loved it. And that just feels like the realization and peace that I need to share today. So I will talk to you all tomorrow.